Hello. This wasn't a question as much as something that someone wrote that I thought was interesting. So, SN says, Hi Tabitha, in my case, I have a fear of exercise now because when I do some form of movement, I get flashbacks to the painful compulsive exercise days. I've been given a yes from the medical professionals that I can go back to exercise, but I've chosen not to. I know that I'll be able to exercise and not compromise eating, but I can't deal with the emotional associations I have with exercise. Totally get that. And I was the same, I think, for quite a while. I went cold turkey on exercise and movement and then told myself, right, not doing any for a year. And then when that year came round, I was almost like, oh, does that mean I have to start again? And then I sort of realised, like, no, it doesn't, really. Of course you don't have to. And I was really just put off it because, I mean, I wouldn't say that I got flashbacks or anything like that. It's totally not true. But I would just remember pounding the pavement and feeling like I never wanted to do that again, or feel like even just the thought of pulling trainers on, and I just made me feel like full of dread is how it made me feel. It just made me feel depressed, actually, probably. The thought of doing it made me feel depressed. And so I gave it some time, and what ultimately happened is that I came back to movement when I was ready to, when I had mentally got over that part. And what I did is I certainly didn't go back to, because I just used to pound cardio when I had an eating disorder, and I certainly didn't go back to that because I didn't enjoy it. I never have, and I probably never will, and I find it boring. And by the way, Lucy's here. Lucy's here. So is Penny. Penny and Lucy look very alike, but they're very different, as you can probably tell, I would hope. Now, this is Oliver. I was told Oliver was a boy. I have suspicions. I think Oliver might be a girl. And then, actually, the same with Charlie, who's here. I was told Charlie was a boy, but I think Charlie might be a girl as well. But that's okay. We don't mind. You can still be called Charlie and Oliver. Anyway, so what I did is I had to find things that, and this sounds really kind of like cliche, joyful movement. You know what I mean, though. I had to find things that were enjoyable to do. And when I said had to, I didn't had to. I did. That's what I did. I wanted to. And so I started to do the things that I wouldn't have done when I had an eating disorder. So I got to the point with an eating disorder where I wouldn't ride horses because my brain would be like, why would I spend an hour riding a horse when I could spend an hour running? Idiot. Burn more calories running. And so I didn't. I stopped doing all of that stuff. And I wouldn't play games because my brain would be like, oh, you do so much standing still when you're playing games. Why would you do that when you could just go running? And so I didn't really do anything fun. I just went running all the time, which is the most boring thing that you go. And I know what, sometimes people say to me, not people without eating disorders, sometimes they say to me, I really enjoy running. And I look at them like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Who actually enjoys running? You know what's even worse? Swimming. Oh, because you can't, it's just so boring. You're just staring at the floor of a swimming pool, which is kind of gross anyway, and there's bits that float in it. But and then you have to get wet, and you have to get dry again, and you have to change. Oh my God. Anybody that says to me, I really enjoy swimming, I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Anyway, that's not the point. The point is that you do actually have to, when you're at the stage, when you're fully recovered plus some, and at your stage where it's fine for you to do some movement with your body, you've got to think about it, it's like a date with your body. You're actually doing this to have fun with your body. And therefore, that was a whole big change for me to actually go back to thinking of movement. It could be this fun thing I do with my body, not this chore. And then, when you can open your mind up to that, you usually find that most movement that's fun involves other people. So games and walking with a friend and social and things like that. That's another thing about swimming. It's impossible to make swimming social, isn't it? Anyway, so horse riding, obviously, was a big one for me to go back to. And it's just a complete joy to be able to move my body and do things with my body without having a single thought of burning a calorie. And also just being being able to be that flexible. So I might have a ride plan with a friend, and then something might happen. They might be like, "Oh, I can't come," and then I'll be like, "All right, well, I'll just do something else." Never would have happened when I had an eating disorder. It would be like, "Wait, I was planning on that. I was planning on doing that thing and doing that activity, and now I'm just going to have to recreate that activity in my own so that I'm doing." You know what I mean? When you have an eating disorder and you're mental like that, it's so nice to be able to be flexible and to be able to take it or leave it. That's the big difference. And so, SN, just give yourself time, and I'm sure that when your brain's ready to come back to movement that involves you enjoying moving your body, then you'll figure out what that is and what you want to do, especially when there's absolutely no pressure from your own brain about whether you have to do it or not. That's really the key. All right, gotta go, bye.